My name is Linda, and I thought I had the perfect life. At 32, I was married to Brian, a man I trusted with my whole heart. We lived in a cozy house with a garden, and though our life was simple, it felt complete. I worked part-time at the library while Brian traveled often for his job at a big company. Sometimes he was gone for days, sometimes a week. I missed him, but I never doubted him. He always came home with a small gift and that warm smile I loved. We talked about everything. I felt safe, cherished, and certain we would grow old together. That Friday night changed everything. We were in bed, Brian already asleep after a long day. I was reading when his phone rang. It was nearly midnight. Thinking it might be an emergency from work, I answered without waking him. A woman's voice came through, trembling and desperate. She asked for Brian. When I told her I was his wife, there was a terrible pause. Then she said words that shattered my world. She needed her husband because their son Davis had a high fever and needed to go to the hospital. Our son, her husband, the words made no sense. We had no children. I thought it was a mistake. But she insisted this was Brian's number. My hands shook as I ended the call. I looked at the man sleeping peacefully beside me, and suddenly he was a stranger. Who was this person I shared my life with, who had a son I knew nothing about? I woke him. When I told him about the call, his face went pale. He tried to lie at first, claiming it was a wrong number, but I could see the guilt in his eyes. Finally, he admitted the truth. He had another family, a woman named Adeline and a 5-year-old son named Davis. He tried to explain he met Adeline before me, got her pregnant, and started supporting her from a distance. When he met me, he fell in love and wanted a real life with me. He thought he could keep both worlds separate, protect me from the truth. But there was no protection in his lies. Our entire marriage was built on deception. Everything I believed about us, about him, was false. I told him to leave. His son was sick and needed his father. He begged me to talk, to work things out, but there was nothing left to fix. He had broken everything. I watched him pack his things, his hands trembling, tears in his eyes. He said he loved me one last time before walking out the door. Then the house fell silent, and I was alone. The days that followed were unbearable. I barely ate or slept. Brian called and sent messages saying he would leave Adeline and Davis for me, that he would do anything. But I could never trust him again. How could I respect a man who would abandon his child, who ran from his responsibilities? I blocked his number and began the painful process of moving on. Reality hit hard. The house was in his name, and my part-time salary could not support me. I found a tiny one-room apartment and applied for a full-time nursing job at the hospital. 6 months later, divorce papers arrived. I signed them without hesitation. It was truly over. On a cold afternoon, months later, I was walking home from work when I saw him across the street. Brian stood there holding the hand of a small boy with bright blue eyes. Davis, my heart stopped. Brian looked older, worn down by the weight of his choices. When our eyes met, his face filled with sadness and regret. I gave him a small, sad smile, then turned and kept walking. I did not look back. The heartbreak did not destroy me. It changed me, made me stronger than I ever thought possible. I learned that I could survive the unimaginable, that I could rebuild from nothing. If you are going through darkness right now, please know you are not alone. The pain feels endless, but you are stronger than you realize. Be gentle with yourself. Healing takes time, but it comes. You can create a new life, and you will find happiness again. I did